What's good, familia? It's your girl, Odalis Jasmine, and this is Hella Latino. Okay, for those who are meeting you for the first time, how do you explain who you are and what you do?
So, my name is Jackie. Hi. I am a menstrual nutritional fitness coach. I identify as Latina. First gen.
Maybe Mexican? I don't know.
Yeah. A little Mexican. Yeah. I just thought it was perfect because it was hella Latina.
I love it.
You know?
Love it.
And so I needed to just rep, you know?
I love it.
But yeah, first gen, grew up very religious. Sex was very taboo. Anything about my body was not talked about. Like, even periods. Girl, I gotta tell you my first
tell me.
Story
tell me.
when I got my period.
Women gotta talk about their first time
yeah,
period.
I know. I need to know yours. I need to know yours.
Tell me yours.
So a little background story. My parents are like kind of health freaks a little bit, and they never let me eat chips growing up. And I was addicted to hot Cheetos. So I would go to school and I would eat them with napkins or like gloves or chopsticks. So I didn't have
chopsticks. I was gonna say that's the one.
Yeah.
The
so I didn't have like the red on my fingers going home, you know.
Yeah.
And so whenever we would go to Mexico, Mexico or like any like Latin-based country, there's like little stores in every corner.
Yeah.
You know, and your tias own it, your cousins own it. You know. So whenever my parents were like with my tias, I would go and get hot Cheetos. You know, and like chamoy, tapatio, like all of it.
Limon.
Tostilocos, like limon,
it.
everything. Yeah. And I was on my bike and I was eating hot Cheetos and stuff. And when I got off my bike, there was blood or was red. And I was 10 years old and I was like, God, I'm sorry. Like, I won't eat hot Cheetos anymore. I promise. Like, no more chamoy. Like, I promise. And I just put some like napkins on there and I was like, all right, just get back on the bike. And then I got off and all my cousins saw and they were like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. Chamoy?
Were the cousins boys, girls, mixed?
Mixed, yeah. And so I was like embarrassed, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, is this what a period is? Girl, I had no idea. No idea.
Wait, but you had a language for it. You knew it was your period.
But I didn't know like what to do.
Right.
You know? And
so what did you do?
I just went to my mom and she was like having like coffee with the tias and I was like just whispered in her ear and I was like, I think I got my period, but I think I'm good. Like I just put napkins in there, we're good. She was like, what? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, like it's fine. And so she taught me how to put on a pad and then that was it. Like she never told me like you're gonna get it for a certain amount of days, you're gonna get like periods.
She never
cramps.
Explained it.
Nothing. Like nothing.
I don't think I've ever been explained a period either. But my mom cried. She cried when
you got it.
She's like, oh my God, mi niña.
Una mujer.
Una mujer.
Yeah.
But no, I got it. So I grew up around a lot of boys, a lot of brothers. And we were at a laundromat. Shout out to the laundromat. That's where a lot of memories were made. But we were at the laundromat and me estaba riendo de carcajadas. Like I was laughing so hard because, I don't know, we were just always laughing. And I thought I peed myself. And I was like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. Yeah. And then my brother's like, get some coins because you have to go put some coins in to go to the bathroom. But I go in and then I see blood and I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like freaking out because I had no idea. Like periods were never talked about. I didn't even know like it was going to come. I didn't. Yeah. And I think I was like 11 years old too, around the same age.
Yeah.
And I remember just going to my brother and I'm like, I have to go home. And he was just like, he didn't ask any questions. He's like, okay, I'll take you home. I got home. Told my mom, like, mami, tengo rojo, como sangre que me está saliendo. And then she's like, ay, mi niña. Starts crying, and then I don't hear anything else. Taught me how to use the pad, too. Yeah. And then she told me, never use a tampon. Que los tampons son malos.
They lose your virginity. Yeah. Right? That's what my mom told me. She was like, they're going to lose your virginity.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
to this day, I have, like... I get scared using one. I'm like...
But they're not even good for you.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
Okay, but tell me how you go from 10 years old, like not having language around this. How did you go from that to like understanding your body? Especially you said in a religious household and like a household where you don't talk about it.
Yeah. It's lonely for women, man. Like getting your periods and then not knowing what to do. Like no one talks about it. Yeah. Like it's such a lonely journey. But so I played soccer my whole life. Mm-hmm. And I used to get horrible cramps on my period, like to the point where like I would faint. I would get to the ground, I would go pale, yellow. Like people would just start freaking out. Like I couldn't, like, and when we would like start sprinting to do fitness, like I couldn't do it. And like my coaches would think that I'm just like exaggerating. My parents thought I was exaggerating. I went to the doctors, and even the doctors, both men and women, they were like, it's just normal. It's just part of, some women just get it worse than others. Sometimes it's genetic. Like, it's just, And
Is there data on, like, how much these doctors know about women's health?
Girl, the last time I was with my gynecologist, she was inside of my body. And she was asking me, what do I do? And I was like, oh, I'm a menstrual nutritional fitness coach. She's like, what is that? And I was like telling her, I was like, like the follicular phase, whatever. She's like, what do you mean? What is that? I said, no way you are in my vagina right now. Certified, like PhD doctor, and not know about this. Yeah.
No way.
Girl, when I got my certification to do this, I remember my mentor was like, there is hardly any statistics, any research on women's health, women's fitness. Like all studies have been done on men. So, and it doesn't work the same. So going back to like when I was a teenager getting horrible cramps, my mom would just tell me that it was just part of it. Like she used to get back cramps. My grandma used to get back cramps. So I thought it was just genetic, and I would like overdose on Midol. Like it was so bad. That was the only thing that would help. And little did I know that shit has caffeine in it. Like it's just adrenaline. It just helped. Like it's just. So I was just on crack the whole time. I was like, whoa.
She's like, not that I need it, but
yeah,
no. Wow.
And I remember like my dad would be like, come on, like it's just take some of your pills, like, and you have a game to go to,
Wow.
And that's how I did it. Like
that is like Latino culture too. Unfortunately, it's just like go through the pain, like good.
Like, what? Come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't complain.
It's not that bad. People have it worse.
Ibuprofen, go.
Yeah.
Or Midol in your case.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I always knew that it wasn't right. Like I'm like, there's no way that we have to just be okay with just being in pain all the time, because Eve ate the apple. That's what my mom told me.
No way.
She was like, it's just karma that women get because Eve ate the apple that she wasn't supposed to. And I was like, ain't no way this is about Eve eating the damn apple. Like, just like shit that they even believe themselves,
Yeah.
And
but even if that was true, like learn about your body. Like learn about what you can do instead of taking pills, or instead of like just getting through the pain, like
medicating
understand
yourself.
Your body. And you told me that. You said it's body literacy. And when you said that, I'm like, oof, that like those two words stuck to me.
Yeah.
Like we don't have enough body literacy as women at all.
And it's like no one's teaching us.
And every month we go through it.
Yeah. And our bodies are literally telling us what's wrong, what's like deficient, what's happening in our body every single month. But we're taught to just like, it's just normal. Like cramps are not normal.
Yeah.
Headaches are not normal. Backaches aren't normal. Mood swings. Everyone gets mood swings. I hate when people are like, oh, women are just going through mood swings. I'm like, well, man doesn't go through mood swings either.
Yeah.
Kendrick
said it in his line.
Yeah. Wait, what line?
He said, you on your cycle, but he's on his period too, or something like that.
Yeah. Like
we all on it.
Yeah. If women react, it's like, oh, they're just probably on their period.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that shit. I'm like, what? Anyways.
So what phase is that when you're like going through it?
Usually luteal phase.
I feel that.
And when I tell my high school girls, I tell them like lunatic phase, aka lunatic phase.
That.
Because
and then add in like astrology and like the sun, like the moon.
That's real.
The moon, like
no, it's real. It's
this
real.
Scorpio moon kind of messed me up a little bit.
Me too, girl.
Okay,
Me too.
We're healing.
Yeah.
Okay. We good?
Pick up pieces.
Check in.
Yeah. No, that's all real.
Yeah.
That's all real.
Yeah. Okay, so you're like in this place of like, this can't be it. This can't be it. Like,
yeah.
When was the moment you're like, I need to start learning about what's going on?
So I went through like life just thinking that like I was just one of those girls that had a really bad PMS symptoms. And even like in college I played, and like I still was like super disconnected with my body.
Pain?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just learned how to do it. I was just like so disconnected with my body. And after 2020 happened and I didn't know what to do. I stopped college. I stopped going to school. I didn't have soccer. It was the first time in my life that like I didn't have anything going for myself. And so I was like, okay, well, what do I like to do? I'm like, okay, fitness. So then I started training. And then I started having women clients that would also tell me like, I'm on my period. Like I'm in pain. Like, should I do this? And then that's when I was like, I need to do research on this. Like, I want to be able to show up for my, not just for me, but like for them too.
Yeah.
Like, and understand what's happening so that I can show up as a better fitness coach, you know? And there wasn't anything. There was hardly anything. And then I saw one video. I don't know if it was on Instagram, on TikTok, about the 4 phases. And I don't know why. And it wasn't even about fitness. It was just telling us about like our skin cells and like how they, like, during our luteal phase, right before our period, it gets very dull, very dry. And then right after our period, we get brand new skin cells, and then we start to glow and stuff like that. And so I started looking into that. And then I found this one lady that was certifying people in that. And there was only like 30 people in the class. And I don't know how I just was looking and looking and looking. And like, she interviewed me, and I guess she only like selects a couple of people a year or something. I don't know. Oh, wow. And girl, I had like $100 in my account. And she was like, it's a $3,000 thing. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Like, really? I just had to, like, I had to. Like, there was something in me, like, I was like, I just have to do it. Wow. This is, like, revolutionary. And, yeah, that's when I learned everything. And, like, everything just clicked. Like, there was just so much empathy for myself. I'm like, okay, so I'm not crazy. So, like, women are so misunderstood. Like, there's no research on women's health, you know? And I'm like, I have to, like, bring this to my people, you know? And I remember during the interview, I told her, I was like, I want to be able to bring this back to, like, my people, because I know that these people that know this aren't coming back to, like, our communities and telling us, you know? Especially, like, the Spanish-speaking community that doesn't understand, you know? Like, I would love to be able to, like, tell our people, and, like, even our moms that go through menopause. I feel like they're so forgotten. Oh, my God. You know? And that's such a rough, like, transition for them, and I feel like it's so lonely. And so just women in general, like, when we get our periods, we can't talk about it, you know? When we're even like cervical mucus, like, that's so real and so normal, and like we can't talk about it because it's like, and like so certain taboo. Smells, like, so normal, but like it's just gross. Periods are gross, you know? Menopause, it's like, oh, you're old now, you know? It's just, there's so much lack of empathy and, like, lack of support for us women that we just have to go through this, like, by ourselves. You know? So,
you're reminding me so much of, I witnessed my mom go through her whole menopause, and it was almost like she was grieving too. It is, and it was such a hard journey because I didn't know how to help her. Like, I really did not know how to help her, and she would cry most of the time. Like, she was always in pain. And she told me, she's like, well, you know, estamos viejita ya. And that's like her way of, like, just allowing it to exist, right? The pain, like, it's coming with age. It's just, it is what it is. But I can see so much grief of, like, your body's changing into this whole different phase, a whole different chapter, and you're letting go of another one. And it's, as a woman, like, I don't know if it's just Latina. I can only speak to my experience, right? Being a Latina woman growing up in the culture, it's so heavy on your looks. It's so heavy on, like, being fit and being cute and being this and being that, and, like, the stereotype that we have as Latinas too, and what's expected from the culture, all of that. And then to be in a menopause stage of, like, oh my God, my body is completely different, and I'm letting go of this. And she had to go through surgery. She had to get, like, things taken out. You know what I mean? Like, she went through a lot. And I know that's, like, my tias went through it. My like, family went through it. And it's hard. Women don't talk about it.
And, like, as a society, we feel like once women go through menopause, it's like they've entered, like, a category of, like, undesirable, like, because they're no longer fertile or something. Like, I don't understand that. And I think that can be like, I can just imagine, like, our moms, like, going through that by themselves, because who are they gonna ask? Who are they gonna go, like, you know, like, they don't have community like that. They don't have resources like that. They don't know who to reach out to. You know, even their own doctors. Your mom
too. Your mom is like, yeah, we just go through it. Your mom or my mom went through it. I went through it. Like, it's just normal. It's just genetic. Yeah. Like, I can't even picture young them going through this and thinking it's just completely normal. Yeah. And it's cool.
And it's sad.
Have you educated them on it? Like, do you go back?
No, when I told my mom this, she was like, Jackie, you need to tell the world. You need to tell the world, because we need this. Like, we need this. And I was like, like, I was just like, because it really is true. And, like, when I go to high schools too and I talk to them about it, I can just feel like as soon as, like, I start talking about, like, periods, like, I know that they have never had the space to talk about these things or ask these questions, you know? Or, like, we all have those, like, sex questions at that age. Like, you know, like, we're all thinking about it. We're all going to do it, you know? And I just think that there's a missing link, you know? And it's also has a lot to do with men supporting us and having empathy and acknowledging, like, we're very different and we need different things than they do. We work very differently. Even like fitness, it's very different. Health-wise, it's very different. How we build muscle is very different. How we recover is very different.
All of that.
Men have 24-hour cycles. So they have the highest testosterone in the mornings, and then it just decreases after that. Every day it's the same cycle, every single day, right? So men can wake up and do the same thing every day. And women have a 28-day cycle, right? So the way that they feel in the morning with like so much energy and like they can do things, we feel that maybe like a week, max 2 weeks out of the whole month. You know, women need more sleep.
I've made jokes about this. I've made jokes about like I got a good 2 weeks out of me every month.
Yeah,
and like,
I know that's real.
And then once again, Nadia educated me on the cycles. I was like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Girl, and then 28-day cycles, and we got 24-hour cycles.
Yes.
Even that knowledge is revolutionary.
Yeah, yeah. And when it comes to like fitness,
wow.
Men can wake up and do the same thing every day, the same routine. Women don't have the energy nor the capacity to do the same. Like we're more prone to getting injuries when we are on our periods. That's why a lot of women get, if you're in the like sports industry, a lot of meniscus tears, a lot of fucked up knees, because they're just forced to work through
the pain.
Yeah. Wow. And our bone density changes throughout the month, you know. So it's like it's things. Yeah. But I actually just read not that long ago that the women's national soccer team is now allowing them like their fitness coaches or whatever, like when they're on their periods, like they allow them to just do like recovery work and stuff like that.
I love
so
that.
It's happening slowly, but it's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah, people are acknowledging it. You know?
I have so many questions for you, but I want to know like what's the biggest aha that you had for yourself while you were learning about this? Like, was there like a moment where you said you had empathy for yourself, but was there one thing in specific that you were like, oh, okay, like I understand my body a lot more?
I wouldn't say just one thing, but I think just it was more of like relief. Like when I started learning about all of this, I'm like, okay, so like there's hope. Like I'm not crazy. Like I always knew that there was something wrong. Like,
and you thought you were crazy.
Yeah, like there's no way that I have to endure so much pain just because I'm a woman, you know, and I have to do it alone. And there's no like cure for it. Like there's no way. Like there's no way. And then when I found all of this out, I'm like, oh my God. Like I knew it. Like I knew it, you know? And there was also some things that I do want to talk about when it comes to like sex too. Yeah. That is actually, it's just so cool. Like, and it makes me feel,
the way you're smiling right now, you're like,
yeah,
it's so
girl,
cool.
because like also like I was always very like intrigued about sex, but like my parents were always like, wait until marriage and blah blah blah, you know. And like I always had so many questions, you know,
and it never felt safe enough to ask them.
No, and I didn't even have like the space to ask. Like with my friends, but we didn't know either. Like we were all just figuring it out on our own, you know. It was like Dumb and Dumber trying to figure it out, you know. But like for example, there was a study done, and women that get it doesn't even have to be like sex with another person, but just like orgasms in general 3 times a week versus a woman that gets like 1 time a week. They did a study for like 10 years, and the women that have orgasms consistently look way younger than the other ones. And then it also helps with endometriosis. It helps with breast cancer. It helps with health just in general. And then, yeah, girl, yeah.
Period.
Like, sex is just, and then it also helps.
Unintended.
Yes, period. Period. Whenever you're having cramps or headaches, like when you're on your period or about to get your period, orgasms help.
Really?
Yeah, so like, fuck the Midol, fuck the ibuprofen.
I was going to ask you, what changed like habitually for you after you found out all this information?
A lot of vitamins. I was lacking in a lot of vitamins. My nutrition was shit growing up.
Hot Cheetos.
Hot Cheetos, girl.
Con chamoy.
Yeah, whenever I got the chance. And it wasn't until I went plant-based, and also when I just there's certain foods that I need to eat more of during each cycle, during each phase of the cycle.
Can you explain the cycles for us?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
So we'll start off with our period, which is phase 1. And it's usually from day 1 to like, it depends on the woman, right? Anyone can get from like 3 days, bleed from 3 days to like 7, 8 days. And then right after that is a
Is there a difference?
phase.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Is there a reason why there's some women that have it longer, some that have it shorter? Or is it just kind of depending on the woman?
Yeah, it depends a lot. It depends a lot on, it can also be genetic, but it can also be the longer it is, like if you are, for example, one of those that spot a lot, like at the beginning or at the end, has a lot to do with your progesterone. Because we have a lining, right, that like builds every month. And then when we shed, progesterone is what helps us shed that. And if you lack progesterone, it doesn't help the shedding of the lining. So that's why you get the spotting.
And what is that? For
Progesterone?
Yeah.
So we have 3 hormones in our body, right? Main hormones: estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Okay. Estrogen is what helps us with like our skin, our hair, you know.
We love estrogen.
We love estrogen. We love estrogen. And it's also like our upper. So estrogen is very high right after our periods, follicular and ovulation. So if you notice, right after your period, your energy increases.
Yeah.
You want to be out.
Me right now.
Yeah. You want to be out. You want to be like, you're just like, out, you know, this is how I
teach. To LA.
Yeah. I have the energy for it, you know?
Yeah.
This is how I tell my girls, my high school girls. So we have 4 phases, right? We have 4 seasons, right?
Oh, I love that.
And it's the same, same thing. Winter is our menstrual cycle, right?
Okay.
We are the coldest when we are on our periods, right? That's why we have to eat a lot more like warmer foods. And like the padding, you know, the warm pad helps, right?
Yeah.
So just think of yourself as like you're in your winter phase. So you need a lot of rest. You need a lot of staying in. You need a lot of like warm foods, stuff like that, right?
Okay.
And then when you get into your follicular phase, that's springtime. You have brand new skin cells, right? You're blooming. Your flowers are blooming. You know, the sun's outside is getting a little warmer. You want to be more outside. Same thing. Your energy increases. You know, like you just want to be outside. You know,
you can work out.
Yeah, you feel like working out now. Cardio is really good during this time. So this is when estrogen is rising. Okay. And then ovulation is summer. Summer, you want to be outside. You want to like wear less.
Hot girl summer.
Yeah, hot girl summer. You want to be out. Same thing. Ovulation, like you have the highest energy. This is the peak of your energy. You are naturally more magnetic. You are just, you have the best communication skills during this time. Period. So when this is the best time to like go on live, to do podcasts, to do interviews, to do you know, anything that has to do with like you being out and like, or having hard conversations that you've been like,
really,
you know, like putting to the back of the burner. Yeah, like
confrontational.
Yes, this is the best time because your right hemisphere and your left hemisphere aren't.
Oh, I got a few days. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so good because again, you can plan your whole life around these things. Like, okay, I know I'm gonna be on my ovulation phase. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have a conversation with this person. You know, I'm gonna go on live. I'm gonna do content during this time. Stuff like that, right? So this is when your estrogen is the highest. After that, progesterone starts to hit. So this is when your energy starts decreasing. We go into our fall season, right? It's like we're getting a little more like, you know, it's getting a little colder outside. Our energy's kind of decreasing a little bit. You want to be more inside a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So progesterone helps us to just kind of slow down.
And so that's what, so you explain estrogen and how do you say it?
Progesterone.
It's
okay. It's okay. Progesterone.
I'm like, why am I feeling like...
We're going to call it pro.
I feel like Dory from Nemo, where she's like trying to pronounce the name.
Or the anemones.
That's how I feel right now.
It's okay.
But okay, so what's that one? It helps us slow down.
Yeah, and it helps us slow down.
Okay.
Think of it as like our estrogen is like our upper, and progesterone is like our downer. Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention testosterone is at our highest on ovulation as well.
And so, what is testosterone?
Testosterone is what gives us our strength. It's what gives us our energy, and it's what gives us our libido. So when we're ovulating, we're like beings. Like we just like or animalistic, you know, and that's testosterone. Yeah, you know, yeah. And that's why when it comes to fitness, like when my girls are ovulating, I'm like, okay, this is the time we're gonna do PRs. I know that you have it in you, so I'm gonna push you. Even if you think you don't got it, like I'm gonna push you because I know your body can handle it. You know?
You know, like I have to give credit to female trainers too. And I have to tell you a story. Like I had a male trainer for a long time. And I mean, he's great.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
But changing to a woman trainer changed the game. And when I tell you, like, she also knows about the cycles, and she tells me, like, oh, you're on your period. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit more, like, chill. You're going to stretch a little bit more. Like,
yeah.
She works with me throughout that week. And then, girl, I love when I'm on ovulation because I be having energy. I'm like, sprints, jump rope, I'll do a lap. Like, I'll do all the things.
Yeah.
But, like, having that understanding and having a trainer that's educated on just, like, a female body, it makes such a difference. And honestly, my body changed completely with her. And that is like, shout out to female trainers.
Like to be able to understand, to understand that and to show up for our clients like that.
Yeah.
And like, we have so much more empathy for our clients. Like, okay, you're not feeling like, and like your energy's not as high. Yeah. You're entering your period. Okay, let's take it a little slow. Let's do some yoga. Let's do some restorative work, you know? Yeah.
Love that. And I love that you explain the seasons too. And just, can we have a moment for like feminine, like just femininity? Like the women are so, the feminine energy is just divine. It's so divine.
It really
and
is.
I was just reading an article about why allergy season exists. Do you know this?
No.
So the reason allergy season exists for us is that there's an abundance of male trees, and not like they're male trees, but it has like more masculine energy in terms of like it releases this thing. It's not sperm, but it's like essentially this like pollen is literally meant to go with the feminine trees because the feminine trees bear fruit and they grow roots and they like have an abundance of like produce similar to our bodies.
Right.
But the reason allergy season exists is because they have an abundance of male trees that are planted all around because it's easier to manage, because the female trees have roots that like can grow the concrete and they like mess up structures and they are so high maintenance. They require a lot of water. They require a lot of like tending to. And I think about how this world is very much like that. Like they look at women a certain way because it's just too much. It's just like, oh, you're in a leadership position, but you have to be in your masculine energy to be here. But you can't be in your feminine. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a man's world. But
it really is. Damn, even the goddamn trees.
Even the trees. But when I found that out, I was like,
that's crazy.
Everything's interconnected.
Yeah.
Everything's connected.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to feminine energy.
Shout out to feminine energy.
Because we got a lot going on, but we're misunderstood.
We really are. And it's just, we're not complex. Like, we go with the seasons. We go with the moon. Like, when we were back in, like, villages era, so fun fact, the more you are outside, the more exposure that you have to the sun and to the moon, the more you sync with the moon, your periods. So back then, right?
I did not know this.
Yeah. So when there was like villages era around that time, obviously they were outside all the time, right? And so, and you know, like when you're living with women, you sync.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's real. So these women would sync because one, they were outside and they were all together, so they would sync with the moon. So every time there's a full moon, that's menstrual. New moon. Sorry.
You're literally changing my life because I literally get my periods during the moon. And my friend told me the same thing. She's like, yeah, I get my periods with the full moons coming out. And we just thought it was a coincidence.
Yeah, no.
Nothing's
it's
a coincidence.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. So what they would do.
How does that happen? You're about to explain it. Sorry.
I don't know. No, it's okay. No, I don't know exactly like what's happening like in the body, like physiologically.
Yeah.
But I do know that like the more exposure that you have to like the sun, it has a lot to do with like also blue lights.
Yeah.
Like it fucks up our cycle. It fucks up our what's the word? So our bodies know when it's time to go to sleep, right? It's time to wind down, and it's time for us to wake up, right? Cortisol wakes us up.
Right.
So that's why like a lot of like health gurus tell you to like have like a lot of sun in your house. I'm like natural lighting to like wake you up, right? Like naturally and stuff like that. You're supposed to wake up with the sun, you know. But blue light is what's fucking us up. So like blue light is like mimicking sunlight, and so it like fucks up with like our REM cycles, our sleep, stuff like that. So back then when we didn't have all of that, we would be outside, right? And so the sun would tell our bodies like, okay, it's daylight, energy, blah blah blah. And then when the moon would come up, you know, like there was no more sunlight, so then our bodies are like, okay, now it's time to wind down. But because of blue light, it's like just it's fucking us up, right? So back then, the village women, they would all sing together, right? And then whenever there was a new moon coming, their periods would come, and they would do this thing called, I think it was called like red tent or redding tent, something like that. And they would all go to a tent and menstruate together. And all of their chores, all of their like, they had nothing, like everything that they had to do around the village, like would be on pause. It was time for them to just bleed together and be in community, massage each other. And this is the time where like they would be passing down wisdom. Like women that were already like in their menopause.
I'm getting chills.
Yeah, like this is the time. So this is why women live longer than our menstruating years. Like we're not just here to procreate. Like when we get our menopause time, this is our time to pass down wisdom.
Girl, you're gonna make me cry. I just feel like how much this was known to our ancestors, and when did it get lost?
I think about that all the time, and this is why this makes me feel so connected to my ancestors when I started knowing about all of this, you know. So this is very like healing. I feel like very generational healing, like me knowing this and me passing down, you know. So we are so connected with nature, like women, like everything, our phases, like we connected to the moon, like the phases and everything, you know. And we're just so disconnected, you know, with just being like indoors and on our phones and, you know. But it is hard to like disconnect from that too, because it's how we make our living nowadays, you know.
I mean, girl, we are operating in a capitalistic society. I say it all the time, like we have to, hay que hacer dinero, but how do we do it in a way while still honoring our bodies while we're operating in this system? And this is what, I mean, this is what this podcast is all about too, is how do we archive our stories and our wisdom, but also how do we help each other create this blueprint of how do you still hold on to your culture, to your roots, to your wisdom, while trying to navigate this world, this land that's ours, but not, and it's this system that's really not ours. And, you know, it's almost like we're having this internal battle always, because I think that our ancestors know, like, girl, the wildest dreams isn't for you to be in an office. Like, it really isn't. But how do you connect back?
And that's hard. And that's, like, so hard. And
it's hard.
Like, what do you do if, like, all you can do is, like, have an office job? And, like, what do you do?
I don't think that's all you can do, though. Like, and this is me being like maybe like super optimistic and like approaching life in that way, but I don't think you only have one choice. I think that they make you believe you only have one choice.
True. Very true.
But I'm like, I think we have more.
Yeah, for
and sure. Tiffany, owner of the studio, she once said on this podcast, whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. And it's really that. Like, if you're not choosing to create a different path for yourself, you're always going to be stuck in this cycle. And, you know, I always say this story about my dad. I was at a job that I hated, and nothing particular about it. It was just, I knew my body, like, it just didn't want to be there. Like, I just did not belong in an office. I don't do well. I don't do well in an office environment. I don't think anyone really does. Yeah. But I was in that environment, and I was like, I need to get out. I can't. But it's giving me benefits. It's giving me a cushy pay, and it's COVID times. It's crazy. Like, I don't know if I should leave during this time, but I ended up leaving. I trusted myself. I'm like, I just know this isn't for me. COVID hit, and honestly, everything happened in a very seamless way during that time. And I told my dad before I left, before I made the decision to leave, I'm like, papi, creo que me voy del trabajo. And at first I thought he was going to be like, you crazy, because that's how my mom reacted. She was like, estás loca, you have this, you have that. And I'm like, I know. Yeah. But my dad's like, listen, you're not happy? And I'm like, no. And he's like, do you think you're talented? You think you can find something else? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I didn't come all the way to this country working all these jobs I did not like. I did not work with my hands, all this labor jobs for you to be in a job that you don't like. You have choice. And I was like, whew. And that was all I needed to just leave. And honestly, I have this trend now in my career, which is not great, but I just leave. If I'm like, I'm not feeling it, but like my dad, not that he gave me permission, but he did. Like he gave my spirit permission to just choose. And that's the privilege, is to just have choice. And honestly, like, yeah, I mean, some of our people, they think they don't have choice, but listen, my dad's left his jobs too. Yeah. He's always been like, this ain't for me.
You make it work.
You make it work.
And that is, I was actually just thinking about this. Like, I used to do the same thing. I used to quit everything. I dropped out of school 3 times. Like, I had so many, I was in finance. I was in fucking, like, just any job that you can think of. Like, I was probably in it, And my parents would always be like, why are you always quitting? Like, you're not going to make any money, like, whatever. But I'm like, you guys gave me a better life, and this is a better life is having choice, is having an option to like choose what I want to do, and like and it's not quitting, it's just knowing when something doesn't serve us anymore.
Pivoting. It's pivoting.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. But they don't get that. Well, at least my parents don't,
Actually, I want to go back to your parents. I want to talk about that story. Do you know their immigration story? Are you familiar with?
Yeah, my dad came when he was like 18. He started working out here, and he was dating my mom. Yeah, in Pasadena. He was dating my mom, and he wanted to bring her, and my mom's,
she was in Mexico.
Yeah, my mom's parents were like, nope, not until you marry her. So they got married, and then they came out here, and my dad has been working in construction ever since, and my mom has been like a housekeeper ever since.
You're an LA kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like through and through. Well,
through and through.
Do they count Pasadena as LA?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard things.
I think so. I would say so.
She said no,
yeah.
But you're from Altadena or Pasadena?
Pasadena.
Because y'all have educated me on Pasadena. I thought Pasadena was all like tennis players, and I don't know why I had this perception of just richness.
No, it's very rich. It's very, very rich. But I'm closer to Altadena, and I don't know. I guess I don't know how we all migrated there, because it was such a white, like old money city, and I have no idea how all of us migrated there. Yeah. But there's just like a little community of just like a whole bunch of minorities, and we all just kind of know each other, stick together,
Oh, I love that though.
Yeah.
And you grew up in that environment your whole life?
Yeah, my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you never wanted to leave LA?
I moved to San Francisco for a bit, and then I lived in Mexico. Oh, I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that.
I left to Mexico without ever knowing like this place that I was gonna move to.
Okay, where in Mexico are you from, and where did you move?
So my parents are from Sinaloa. We used to go there all the time.
You know what? I love Sinaloenses. Like, I have hella people from Sinaloa in my life. Y'all have like this like energy.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I kind of had a feeling, I was like, I feel like she's from like that area.
Yeah.
Sinaloa.
Love it. That's so funny. We do.
Yeah.
Like a little, my mom. Yeah, for sure. But I actually went to Oaxaca.
You did.
And I was living there, and I lived there for like 6-7 months, and I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything lined up. Like, I left everything, sold my car.
Oh my God. So what was it like to be Mexican but born here and then going back to Mexico?
Girl, it's like you're not Mexican enough. You out here, you're not like American enough. Like when I went out there, I've never had to make friends in Spanish. Like,
oh yeah, that's a thing. Yeah.
Like every time I spoke Spanish, it's like someone that I already knew and I can speak Spanglish with, or someone like older people. Like it's like a different Spanish, like ¿Cómo está usted? Like very like respectful Spanish, Yeah. But when I went out there and I was trying to make friends, I'm like, hola,
not hola.
But they were just like, they had like slang and everything, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying.
Wow.
But girl, it was life changing. I went out there, I just lived. I put my life on pause, and I just lived by the beach.
What was the like goal or reasoning that you left? You just wanted to go to Oaxaca?
So I met a friend, and I've always wanted to live in Mexico, but I didn't want to go by myself, or I just didn't know where to go. I didn't want to go to Sinaloa.
Yeah.
And she's from Oaxaca, and she was like, my parents have a Airbnb out there that we can just stay out there for. They'll give it to us for free for 6 months. And I said, okay. And Volaris, the Mexican airline, was having like their 50th anniversary or something, and they had like 50% off like flights, and we're like, let's do it. And we went, girl, like
for For 6 months.
And I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. Like, I was just out there living, figuring it out. Just.
And what was, like, the most salient part of that experience? Like, what was the most important takeaway for you? Or what did you learn? What did you learn about yourself, about culture, about all of it?
Just, one, how much I love Mexico so much. Like, it's like a warm hug. I felt so connected to my ancestors. Like, just being able to just freely live, you know? And, like, wake up and be like, what do I want to do today? You know? And it was just all about me and, like, what I wanted to do, and not have to think about, like, girl, I slept. I know it sounds crazy, but, like,
she said no eye bags to be found.
Yeah, but also, like, there was no shame or guilt to resting, you know? And that was the first time, like, I cried of how, like, good I felt, because I think living at home, I was still living at home at the time, I couldn't rest because my parents would make me feel guilty for it. Like, ¿qué vas a hacer hoy? ¿Qué hiciste hoy? ¿O no vas a hacer eso? Like, why didn't you do this?
Yeah.
Or, you know?
Yeah.
And it was only okay to rest when they were tired and they were resting, you know?
Yeah.
And so, when I was in Mexico, I just rested.
Like, I'm asleep.
Yeah, I rested and rested and rested, and did anything and everything that I wanted to do at whatever time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just felt so alive and, like, so connected to my body. And I did 75-day hard. No alcohol, no sugar, no processed anything. I was living in, like, a very rural place. And so I was only able to eat things from, like, the locals.
Oh, I love
Girl,
that.
over here it's, like, more
expensive.
expensive.
You went plant-based or no?
No, I was already plant-based.
Oh, okay.
Girl, I haven't eaten meat in, like, 10 years, 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
Wait, when did you go to Oaxaca?
I went 2021, 2022.
Oh, it's kind of recent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
Did you have a moment where you're like, I could stay here?
Yes and no. Something happened that really triggered me, and I had to come back. And but it really changed my life. Like, that trigger was really embedded in me. That, you know, when you don't know that you had that trigger until it happens, and then, like, your whole world collapses on your shoulders, and then and then you gotta start fresh. Yeah.
You're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Learning moment.
It was. But and it was my deep trauma with the masculine, for sure. Yeah. But it was really healing. I had to come back and pick up the pieces on my own.
Oh, and, I think everything happens for a reason.
It does.
I'm
it
like,
really does.
I'm trying to stop myself from going deep into that.
I know. I'm like, because I don't want to know. I know this is, like, about, like, menstrual, you know, and, like, I don't want to, like, get into.
We can get into your story. I don't know if you want to go into that, but I think, like, even talking about masculinity in our culture, like, you can't talk about being feminine without talking about the masculine side. But it's
let's get into it, because it's part of it.
Let's talk about it.
I've always had such deep trauma with the masculine. Like, growing up, I was the oldest sister. Grew up how to be, basically raised to be a mother. You know, the oldest. And I always knew there was something wrong. Like, my dad would get up from eating, and then he would be like, okay, you guys have to clean up. And it would make my blood boil. I'm like, why? Why do I have to do it? Like, why does my mom have to do it? Like, my mom came home from work. You guys both have very, like, hard jobs. Why do you get to sit down? You know, and I would challenge it. And then
you would say it out loud.
Yeah. I'm like, why? Like, why do I have to do it? And then, because I'm a woman, you know? And, like, my dad would get, like, you're disrespecting me. And even my mom would be like, you're disrespecting your dad. Like, don't ever talk to him like that, you know? Or just little things like that. Like, well, that's a woman's job. Oh, it would, you know.
You would say it.
Yeah. Wow. Or, like, going to church, like, you can't cross your legs. Why? Like, I feel comfortable like this. It's it's disrespectful. Like, women can't do this. Or, like, you have to save yourself for marriage. And I'm like, but why? But men don't, you know? Men can have, like, you know, like, why do I have to wear white to be pure? Like, you know, it's just little stuff like that. Like, I just didn't understand. And whenever I would question it, there was no answers. This is just how it is. This is just how women are, you know? And so, like, I grew up, like, just, like, having so much resentment towards men. And for, like, making me feel small and making me feel like they're superior. And, like, I have to worship them and I have to, like, serve them. And growing up, I never saw a healthy relationship in my life. Like, I never saw a happy woman, a happy married woman, ever. Like, ever. And they would get up during our family parties and they would have to serve and like, oh, are you done? And they would always have to serve the men first, you know? And get up. The men are going to sit first. And I'm like, why? Why? They're just sitting there, like, watching TV, fucking sucking on their thumb, you know? And I would just, like, I always felt like there was something wrong with that, you know?
Yeah.
And I always knew. Like, I know you women are, like asking for help, but you just don't know how. You know,
I want to give young you like a hug for even just knowing like this isn't right.
Yeah,
there's something off here.
Yeah, and I always challenged it, always, and I was shunned for. I was the black sheep of the family because of it. You know, like I never went with what I was told. I always challenged it and asked it, and instead of giving you like an explanation, it was just like, it is what it is. Yeah. This is just how it is. Yeah.
And you're like, ain't no way. Flipping tables.
Yeah. And then when I started dating men, it was just the same shit. Like, really? I just always felt like I had to serve men. And this is just the way that it was. Even like during sex, like I always thought, I never knew that a woman can orgasm. I always thought that sex was for men and that it was only pleasurable for them. Like we were just there to help them orgasm. Wow. Imagine that. And I didn't know that a woman can orgasm until I started dating women.
Really?
And it changed my life completely. That's another story. But that, like I really, for years, and this isn't until like I was 23 when I had my first orgasm. And I'm like, period. And I'm like, what? Like women can orgasm? Like I had no idea. And like the men like probably also had no idea. I don't know.
And these are all things that the culture does not talk about. This is all like, oh no, we don't talk about that. You're not supposed to do that. You know? You're
not supposed to enjoy yourself. Because if a woman enjoys herself, she's a hoe. You know, like if a woman enjoys pleasure, that's bad. Yeah. That's wrong. You know? Did you know how the vibrator was invented?
No.
So back then, you know, hysteria, it was actually like a disease back then. Like women having emotion. Like
hysteria
having a reaction.
Was a disease?
Yes.
You're joking.
I swear, back then, it was like a thing. Like,
they
you know
call
how,
it
like,
hysteria.
Yeah, like,
textbooks
you know,
call
like
it hysteria, but it was just women having emotions.
Yeah, like the
reactions.
same thing as like, you know, when someone is bipolar, they have to give them like medication or whatever, like whatever. Hysteria was a thing. And they used to think that it was because something that had to do with the clitoris. There was something wrong with the clitoris. And so and I don't know exactly how it all went down, but the doctors back then, men doctors, right? Because when the European culture colonized, you know, because women were the doctors first, right? Yeah. The herbalists,
period.
Right? Like, but not, but that's, So then males started becoming doctors, right? And I had no idea about women bodies and clitorises and all of that stuff. So they started like fingering them, but not in a pleasurable way, to just feel, you know, like there was something wrong in there, whatever. And so women started having orgasms without knowing it, right? And so it started going around, like women started having pleasure from this. And so
this is all blowing my mind.
No,
like,
yeah.
What?
And so it started getting like out of hand, basically. And so the doctors couldn't, like there was just, it was, supply and demand was just too much. And so they started making these things that, vibrators that would help women with hysteria. But then women started using it as a pleasure, and then it started having this like stigma around it. But that's how it was invented.
No way.
For hysteria.
For women just existing.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and we took that shit.
The more you know, the more. I love that you said that women were doctors first, because this is what happens. Women we're always the first in a lot of different things, and like doctors being one of them. We're always the caretakers to help, and then it's never praised. It's never acknowledged until a male enters. I mean, this happens in like today. Yeah. Like women be doing some jobs, and then once a man comes in, oh, now we're going to pay more. Oh, now we're going to really like have some accolades around this. And man, we need to bring back the feminine.
Girl, even like the gender gap, we still have that.
We still.
You know, and Latinas.
I'm so sick of the Latina equal pay day. I'm like, can we get this right?
Yeah.
Every single year.
And even like, and what's crazy, and I learned this in my psychology of women class recently, that like you would think that like the higher the women's education is, and like let's say they have a PhD, they're doctorates, the pay gap would get closer together as with the male.
I know.
It gets wider and wider and wider. A woman doctor makes less than a male doctor. Like the gap goes higher and higher the more the woman's education goes up.
And that's what I mean. We got choice, because the system is not set up for us to succeed. It really is not. And so it's like, how do you peep game and also create your own rules? Yeah. Because it ain't built for you. It's girl, all the things.
And something else that I learned in my psychology of women class that I, like blew my mind, that I had no idea. The clitoris is not just like the little clitoris. It's 5 inches inside of our body.
Inches.
And inside of our body, right? Like the G-spot.
Inside.
Yeah, and it's just like the little clitoris that like kind of... So the clitoris is like, it looks like a ball sack basically inside of our body. And then it just has like this little thing that pops up, and that's like what shows, right? But it's like about 5 inches inside of our body, and we are the only species, women, that have an organ that is purely only for pleasure. That's it.
Stop.
We are the only ones that have an organ, or I guess a tissue, that is
solely for pleasure.
Solely only for pleasure.
Wow. I have a few questions for you before we wrap up, but one thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, you mentioned a few things about your family, like just very masculine and very religious and very like, we're not going to explain it to you, it's just the way it is, like almost this old school machista household. And you mentioned that you date women. How has that, if you're comfortable talking about it, like how has that experience been in being in that like culture and environment? Which, girl, we don't talk about sex, we don't talk about menstrual cycles, we don't talk about sexuality. So, and you're like, I'm talking about all of it.
Yeah, and like imagine being all of this and being like, it felt very lonely for me, like wanting to know about sex, being sexually active, like knowing that I was attracted to women, being Latina, you know, being a woman, you know, like these are all like, it's like in just the intersectionality of it all. Like it's not just one oppression, it's like all of this. It just like adds to it, you know. It's like, it's a lot. But I think that's the anger that kind of like alchemized it all, you know what I mean? Like I alchemized so much anger that I had growing up, you know, like so much like resentment, so much like I just always needed answers, and like no one was giving it to me. So I was like, all right, like I have to do it on my own. Like I knew that I had to do it on my own, you know. And I will say, my mom is still in denial that I'm gay, but that's okay. I've come to terms that like she's gonna come to terms when she is okay with it. But to be honest, like it's healed me, girl. Like being with women has healed me so much, and I love that about myself. Like I love that I'm fluid. I love that I'm a woman. I love that I'm Latina. I love that I'm first gen. Like I love all of these things about me. Like why wouldn't I scream this to the world? Like I love all these things about me. Like if I didn't have any of these, I wouldn't be who I am, you know? And so I think at first it was what made me feel really lost. Yeah. But now it's what makes me feel like just like I've come home to like myself, to my body, to my soul, you know, like this is who I am. And I know that I am meant to be a voice for so many that are going through this exact same thing, that have always had questions. And like I'm here as like a leader in my community and all of these types of communities, to be like, you're not alone, you know, like we're all going through it. And I'm glad that I have so many different factors to me, you know. So
I love it.
I can speak to a lot of people now. I can speak to so many communities, you know, because I am who I am.
And this is why you're behind the mic, girl.
Yeah.
Because now you're out here spreading that knowledge to people.
Yeah.
You're for the young Jackies that are like, me siento loca. I feel crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like, you get to be that safe space.
Yeah.
You get to create it.
Yeah. And that's what I honestly love doing, creating safe spaces for people to just talk about these things and like make it normal, you know?
If young first gen Jackie was listening to this episode, what would you want her to take away?
Oh, girl. I won't cry.
Girl. You make me cry now. Oh, my love.
I would just say like stick to your intuition for real. Like when you know that something's wrong, it's wrong, you know, like, and always believe in yourself. Like, no one knows what's possible in your reality. Like, the worst advice that someone can ever give you is be realistic. Because, like, even my career now, it didn't even exist. So I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. Like, it was because, like, I needed to make my own career, you know? And so I would just tell her, like, just go for what you love to do and, like, follow your passions, even if they don't make sense right away. Like, always go for, like, what makes you happy, because the opportunities will come, you know? And I think just believing in yourself, and even if no one else does, like, your intuition will guide you. The universe will guide you. God will guide you. Yeah.
Ooh, girl, period. Oh, girl, what? That was a moment. That was a moment. The last question I have for you, I always end every single podcast with a manifestation. What do you want to manifest for every young Latina that's out there?
What do I want to manifest for all Latinas?
Or all women, all people that are watching this. What would you want to manifest for them?
Man, just be authentic. Just be yourself. Like, I promise, like, when you really lean into authenticity, that's when everything started coming for me. Like, opportunities. Like, you just magnetize what is for you when you really lean into you. Like, just being authentic, just being you. Like, and I really do think that's, like, the whole point of life. Like, really just being you to the core, no matter what. And opportunities are just going to come to you, fly to you. Yeah.
When you're in alignment.
Yes. Like, just be you. Be authentic. You're not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. You're not meant to be for everybody, you know? Yeah. And I really do think, like, that's when the magic happens. Yeah.
I'm like, I want to drop this mic. Mic drop. But I won't. I won't. Thank you, girl. Gracias. Thank you for being here, for being real, for being you. We need more of that in this world.
Thank you for creating the space.
Love you, girl.
Girl. Love.
And you're an Aquarius and an Aries. I'll get it
girl,
right.
We said Aquarius, Leo. Sister signs.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, girl.
Okay, you know the owner of the studio, Tiffany, is an astrologist.
Is she really?
Yes.
Can we get our I'm like, can we get our cards read? No.
Yeah. She said, no, you can.
No, yeah. You're an astrologer? Yeah.